So do you want to know what the best debt payment strategy actually is? Do you want to know the best way to get out of debt, comparing strategies between the debt snowball, the debt avalanche, and the consolidation strategies? Well, you came to the right place. My name's Hervin Pesa. I'm a financial planner, and in this video, I'll put all those strategies head to head so that you can see which one actually will work best for you. By the way, this is episode 30 of our 2021 Money School. We published a video every single day in September, all to teach you the money lessons that school has failed to give us. In the last few days, we've already talked about a few things when it comes to debt. We've explained what the debt avalanche is, we've explained what the debt consolidation strategy is, and yesterday we explained what the debt snowball is. Now it's time to actually put them head to head with the case study that we've been using consistently. His name is Mike, and here's a summary of his situation. If you're a regular viewer of this show, you will notice that I'm sitting a little bit strange. That's because I'm actually going to spend the time today to go through the case-by-case situations and comparisons between the debt snowball, the debt avalanche, and the consolidation. And we're still going to be using Mike, as I said. But this way, we can actually show you right away as I make some changes and some tweaks, and you'll quickly understand how a small change could either help you pay off your debt sooner, or it could delay it, or what flexibility we have available to us depending on these situations. One thing that I don't like with other YouTubers or other people that are talking about financial content when it comes to debt repayments is they're so tied to their one strategy instead of analyzing and seeing how they can both be applicable, or all three of them can be applicable, and taking the best of all of them and finding a way to apply it to your situation. So I hope that by breaking it down and comparing them, you'll get more ideas on what would be more impactful for you. In case you haven't seen any of our previous videos, just very quickly, Cliff Notes versions, all the strategies rely on you finding out what your free cash flow actually is. So creating a budget that you can stick to and figuring out what portion of your income you can carve out specifically to paying off debts. Remember that building wealth isn't just about investments, it's not just about attacking, right? In this case, paying off debts actually gets you richer and richer because your net worth is still going to improve. So understanding what the best way is for you is super duper important. So what's the debt consolidation? Again, the main idea behind the debt consolidation is if you have high interest paying loans and you have a bunch of them, if you can get approved for a bigger loan that's at a lower rate and it's big enough to pay off all the other loans so that you're only paying for one, you're consolidating everything, that would save you an interest, will make things simple for you so that it's a lot easier for you to manage and track if you're moving forward or if you're moving the wrong direction. The debt avalanche, again, focuses on a fixed targeted budget for debt payments, but this time, instead of relying on an external lending facility or an external loan, you're just gonna put your debts in an order of priority. You're gonna prioritize them based on interest rate. Again, interest is the cost of borrowing. So the higher the interest rate, the more expensive, the more it's costing you. So it makes sense, it makes mathematical sense to pay those all off first. But here's what you need to understand. You're paying a minimum amount for everything else that you're not currently targeting right now. So if you have 5 different debts, you're gonna break that down into 5 stages. Stage 1, you have 1 priority, and then 4 that are just being paid in minimum. And you keep doing that again and again until you only have 1 debt left. With a debt snowball, it's a similar strategy in a way that you're only paying minimum with everything else except what you're prioritizing. The key difference is how you find out what you're prioritizing first. The debt snowball focuses on the smallest balance first, and it relies on psychology. It relies on our desire to keep winning the moment that we have our first check under our belt, right? Like the moment that we have that first victory, the moment that we pay off the very smallest debt, that's one step closer to the next win. So that's what the debt snowball relies on, and we'll see what they look like mathematically now. So first, let's compare the debt snowball and the debt avalanche, all right? If you have a copy of the spreadsheet, all you really need to do first is key in your liabilities. In this case, I just pre-filled this based on Mike's scenario. We know that he can add an extra $83, and we're gonna use the snowball method. You can see if I toggle between the snowball and the avalanche, this order of operations just changed. That's it, it's prioritization, right? With the snowball, it's the smallest balance first. With the avalanche, it's the highest interest first. A little bit of a caveat in this case. I didn't realize this when I was making this up. Mike is not a real person, so I had to come up with this example. When I look at this situation here, it was a little bit difficult to discern because it's a small balance too, right? At $1,500. Even if this Walmart card is charging almost 30%, the first three almost remain unchanged. But let's go back to the snowball. The primary metric for most people that want to be out of debt is this: August 2025, if we're implementing this starting next month. So this is our planning date, September 2021. So our first payments actually come through in October of 2021. And that ends, you see that we're pouring in $900 every month. $470 goes to this Costco MasterCard first until it's paid off in less than 3 months. And the only thing that's left all the way until August 2025 is the remainder of this student loan. So you get that, right? Like the more cash you roll into the next debt, the faster this is gonna get paid off. So this is the next metric. Right now, there's gonna be $6,781.61 of total payments in interest if we use the snowball method. If we use the avalanche method, we are looking at $5,482.09. That's an interest savings of $1,300. So it's nothing to ignore, but at the same time, I want to remind you that 0% on, I just want to remind you that 19.99% on a zero balance is still better than 4% interest on 20,000, right? So that's where the avalanche method kind of wins, is the interest savings. And now let's go back to the consolidation, right? This is our baseline. If Mike didn't make any changes over the 5 years, he would have paid a total of $7,900 for the cards and another $2,122 for the student loans. So if he didn't make any changes and he didn't implement any strategies, he would have paid 10 grand in interest over that time frame. Not to mention the lost opportunity of the free cash flow that he could have invested, right? So oftentimes when people do a comparison between the best strategies, they forget that the biggest change is from no strategy to even a suboptimal one. You can see that right here, all right? Like, not that I'm gonna stop here, but I just wanted to remind everybody first that before we even did the consolidation, before we even reviewed all of this, Mike was not in a good spot. And most people are gonna be like that. They know that they're making debt payments, but it's gonna be spread out. There's no focus, they don't know what they're doing. In this case, what we assumed that we could do was Mike was able to take a 5.99% unsecured line of credit, borrow 14 grand from that, and use that to pay off all of these cards. And putting it on a 5-year payment schedule, it's gonna be $270 every month. We didn't change the student loan because that was already a low rate, plus there's a tax credit that's attached to it. So we just added up the new consolidated loan, or the consolidated line of credit, plus the student loans. So his new monthly payment for everything, and everything's gonna be paid off in 5 years, it's $656 every month. That's a net cash flow difference of $816 to what he was paying before. So that's pretty dang good, right? But we don't wanna stop there, because we know that if Mike decided to keep paying the same amount, he'd have $159 or $160 extra that he could have paid to the unsecured line of credit. Based on our example, we know that that would be paid off in about 3 years if he did that. But let's actually supersize this. What if we combine the consolidated strategy to either the snowball or the avalanche method, and we'll look at it further. All right, let's do something different. Let's combine these strategies. Remember that with this consolidation, so far that's actually the cheapest when it comes to interest, because that pays a total of $21.47 in interest for the credit cards that's consolidated, and $21.22 for the student loans. So let's combine that and let's see what happens if we did this. Let's say we got rid of all these credit cards and we put the unsecured LOC. 5.99% is the interest that we said it's going to be, 14,000 bucks. The current monthly payment is 270.12. We're going to put a minimum of $140 on that guy right there. And because we were paying $900 with the other strategies, I'm going to make sure that we do an apples to apples. So I'm going to top this up to 43.45. One thing that I want to point out is it just happened by chance. Regardless if it's the Snowball or Avalanche, it's not going to change in this case. Because if we did the Snowball, 14,000 first, right? That's a smaller balance. If we did the Avalanche, the higher interest rate first, 5.99 versus 4%. So nothing is changing. In this case, we're going to be just prioritizing $600 every month into the unsecured line of credit, and we're going to keep doing that all the way until September 23. And at that point, any extra cash is going to be poured into the student loans, so it's going to be $900 a month until 2025. So I actually believe this is later than before, but here's the situation. Total interest paid is $2,900 versus $6,700 for the Snowball, $5,482 for the Avalanche, and $4,300 roughly for just the consolidation. So this shows that mathematically speaking, combining the strategies actually has an added benefit. But did it save us time? Not really, because with the Snowball on its own, we were at June 2025 for the Avalanche. Sorry, make sure that we're sharing that. For the Avalanche method, we're at June 2025. If we're looking at the Avalanche, we are looking at June 2025, Snowball, August 2025. So that doesn't really save us all that much. August versus June 2025. If I did the consolidation again, combining that, was going to be 900 minus this, 24345, 24345, April 2025. Oh, it does actually get us closer, because June was our best shot before. So this combined strategy, this combined hybrid actually works. So what's the best strategy? You got to play around with it as far as interest rates in your situations, but that's the math behind it, right? Remember, the best strategy is the one that you can actually fulfill, complete, execute consistently. So in this case, I would be happy with clients consistently executing on one, but given guidance and giving coaching, we would review this on a consistent basis. In this situation, it actually made sense. If they were still able to get an approval for the consolidation, we'll consolidate. And the parts that doesn't make sense to roll into the consolidation, we will then do a priority payment like this. So I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Until next time, stay aware, take control. Love y'all.